Hello again. In this section, we're going to be talking about agreement. This is a longer section that covers a couple of different things. So with agreement, you want to make sure that there's agreement in a sentence. There are different types of agreement. We've got pronoun reference, case, shift, and number, subject, verb, and the verb tense. So with pronoun reference, agreement in person refers to the relationship between pronoun, subject, and the corresponding verb. Here's a couple of instances that are wrong and then ones that are right. The professor and she is going. The correct sentence is, the professor and she are going. So you can see here that that verb doesn't correlate with the pronouns that are used. Second sentence, if you want to do it, one has to do it right. Now, you and the one, those don't fall together in the same category. So we should say, if you want to do it, you have to do it right. Because in this case, the repetition of you would be correct. In the third sentence here, we've got, he always tell me that I am right. In this case, the correct sentence is, he always tells me that I am right. Because in the verb, third person singular, I tell, you tell, he tells, we tell, you tell, they tell. I tell, you tell, he tells. So he always tells me that I am right. This is one that you may see also in the CLEP exam. We have to be careful to always be aware of the demonstrative pronouns, this, that, these, and those, and pronouns in the sentence. These references can be confusing, like with these examples. When Susie saw Jill, she was angry about class. Now in this case, we don't know who she is. She could be Susie, she could be Jill. So that's confusing. When Susie saw Jill, Susie was angry about class, or Jill was angry. In the second situation, let's take a look at this sentence. There are situations in which children don't have proper access to education. These bother me more than anything you can imagine. Now, let's hope that we're talking about the situation and not the children, because you don't want to say that the children are bothering you more than anything you can imagine. So I would repeat the word situation to make sure that the demonstrative pronoun has a correct reference. Let's take a look at agreement in case. Agreement in case has to do with the correct use of a noun or a pronoun in a sentence. So, I want to find the cat. The ladder is leaning against my house. My sister gave me $1 to buy the candy. So, here we've got I. That's correct. The ladder is leaning against my house. My sister gave me $1 to buy the candy. So these are examples of different nouns and pronouns in a sentence. So an agreement in case. You want to make sure things are in order with a case in question. Now take a look at this first sentence. Andy and me went to the store. Might sound okay to some people, but you want to say Andy and I went to the store. How do you know if it's correct? Take away Andy and just have one person. Would you say me went to the store? No, you wouldn't say that. You say I went to the store. So Andy and I went to the store when you put it together. Let's take a look at the second sentence. This is for you and I. Now, the right way, this is for you and me, because you wouldn't say this is for I. You'd say this is for me. Want to add another person in there? This is for you and me. Agreement in gender. Agreement in gender refers to being gender neutral when you write. Now, some people may say mankind is worried about Earth's future. But other people may prefer to say humanity is worried about Earth's future, because mankind may not sound gender neutral. Second example, everyone must do his part. Now that's not gender neutral because we're only making a reference to men here. So we want to say everyone must do his or her part. Agreement in number. Agreement in number refers to the relationship of different parts of speech in a sentence and whether they are singular or plural. Let's take a look at some sentences here. If someone wants a key, they have to go to the front desk. There's no agreement there, that's correct. If someone wants a key, he or she has to go to the front desk. So we can't really say someone and then switch it up to they, even though some people do that for purpose of neutrality. The correct way to say it still is he or she has to go to the front desk. Let's take a look at the second sentence here. The students should open their book. But we want to say the students should open their books, because one book is not shared by all the students. Let's take a look at subject-verb agreement. We saw this in an earlier case. Subject-verb agreement refers to using the correct subject with the correct verb. And as I said before, I run, you run, he runs, we run, you run, they run. So it's the third person singular in English that's a different form. This is more complicated with irregular verbs. I am, you are, he is, we are, you are, they are, for example. Let's take a look at some cases here. She said she'd go for a run every morning. Now the right way to say that, she said she goes for a run every morning, because we can't use that case of she go. Doesn't make any sense. She said she goes for a run. Second sentence, she said that you was tired. Correct way, she said that you were tired, because I was, you were goes in that same format. So we want to make sure that the subject and verb agreement is correct. The verb tense agreement. This refers to inappropriate changes in time frame in a sentence without proper cues. Now, let's take a look at this sentence. She take the subway home and then met her friend in the cafe. We want to say she took the subway home and then met her friend in the cafe. So this, as we've seen before in another case, makes more sense because they both happened in the past. Sometimes, however, there are understood changes, and a tense shift is okay. Here's an example. They're riding in the car that she bought last week. So they're riding now, but the car was obviously bought in the past. So in this case, we can use different verb tenses.